Guys, something strange is going on in this market that has never happened before. And people keep asking me, do you think we've topped? Are we going higher? Is the bottom in? Is the top in? And in this video, I just want to talk about some of the data. We're going to look on chain. We're going to look at the data and look at some strange things that, guys, I don't have the answer to. I'm putting these things forward to you and saying, hey, this doesn't add up. Something looks a bit suspicious here. What do you make of it? Okay, and maybe giving my opinions as well and sort of what I think it might be. But I might be wrong, right? I might be wrong. But we've talked about this on my long video. If you saw it, it's like an hour-long video or something I've done recently. If you haven't, go and watch that, because I think there were some real good insights into the market there and some tips. And on this video, like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of my videos, guys. Press the bell notification button to stay up to date with all my latest videos, because we are getting into territory where we're looking for a reversal, right? And if you're new to crypto, things can crash and collapse very, very fast in this space. And I'm talking, I think last cycle at one point, my portfolio came down like 60% in 2 days. And we were transitioning from bull run to bear. And I was like, oh, it can happen this fast. People had warned me about it. And I kind of listened to them and I was like, okay, yeah, sure. And then when you experience it, you become a different trader. You're like, okay, I really need to prepare for this next time. So this is the active addresses, right? So price goes up, active addresses go up. We can clearly see here into the bull run of 2018, price shooting to the upside, active address shoot into the upside as well. Go into a bear market, active users drop, right? Going into a bear market, the activity is going to drop. Again, going into a bull run, active users shoot up. Go into a bear market, active users shoot down. Now, what was different this time is that when the price started to hit all-time high, the active addresses dropped dramatically, okay? So I'm thinking this was one of the worst and longest bear markets we've ever been through, and a lot of people went through a lot of PTSD. USDC depegged, the DOJ were coming after crypto, FTX, Celsius, it was endless, right? And a lot of people went through an emotional roller coaster and actually thought that they weren't ever going to get their money back and they weren't ever going to get break even or make any profits. And a lot of people did buy the dip. There was a lot of dip buying. For some reason, when we got to all-time high, a lot of people started to take profits and sell, and I don't think a lot of people were had conviction that we were going to 100k. I did personally, I did post around 25k, I think, saying that I think we'll go to 100k and over 100k. I just think 100k is going to be a big psychological level, and we may trend there for a while. So a lot of people started to sell at all-time high, which is very interesting, unless this data is people going into ETFs. But I mean, look, it was way too dramatic and way too sudden to be everyone going into ETFs. And also, we know that people who are self-custodying their Bitcoin understand the system. They believe in owning their own assets. So it's very strange to see this sell-off. And I would lean towards that people. Obviously, Bitcoin came down to 16k. A lot of people bought at 16k, 17k, 18k, 19k. Guys, it went up to 70k, right? Who are we to judge them? I see a lot of people saying, you're selling early, big mistake. Someone might put $1 million in Bitcoin at 15k or 20k, and they might have made $3 or $4 million in profits by the time it gets to 70k, right? Who are we to judge them? Like, who are we to say, oh, you sold early? Because time and time again, we know in this market, actually, this is the best time to sell, right? When you go into green, this is the best time to sell. When you go into reds, this is the best time to buy. Where we were buying down here in the bear market was actually the reds, right? The best time to buy. The last bear market actually nailed the reds, right? The last bear market, the reds. The green actually marked the top, right? Blue, green marked the top. Blue, green marked the top. Blue, green marked the top. Green, green potentially marking the top, right? So historically, this is the worst time to buy and actually the best time to take profits and sell. So that's how I would look at that data. But I will say we do need to understand that the price is shooting to the upside, yet the retail data is telling us that they're actually waiting for a crash. Now, retail are getting smarter, right? They literally bought the dip. When we bought this dip recently, we are retail, right? I'm not an institution. We bought this dip on the S&P down here somewhere. So down here, we sold. Obviously, we were expecting a pullback when we broke the trend line. We started to ape back into some stuff down here. I got Solana, Sui, some BTC longs, and I've taken profits already, guys. But so did retail. Retail didn't fall victim to the FUD and all the news stories that were going around. They actually bought the dip and they kept buying and buying and buying and buying, and they were still buying up here aggressively. And it's mainly been a retail rally. It's actually the institutions that are shorting the market. Michael Burry actually started selling a lot of stocks, and he took a massive short on Nvidia. I know he's been wrong several times, but he's also surrounded by a lot of smart people. He gets a lot of institutional data, so we can use that as confluence. And it was just a lovely rally up, right? It's been rallying, and the trend is your friend until the end. We actually got a sell signal here from the SMC bot on the 4-hour time frame recently. I did post this on my X, guys, 2 days ago, so trade carefully. Just got a sell signal from the SMC bot, so you can see this is actually on the S&P futures buy signal all the way down here, and then it's just been plain sailing. And because we've rallied so much, it went up like 23% in a short amount of time. I am kind of waiting for these sell signals and these breaks of trends, because they can be very, very aggressive back down to the downside. So, follow my X. Go and head over to my X account if you want to stay up to date with the latest, so you don't miss out on any of these posts. Because shortly after that post, look, we had this massive nuke to the downside. And BTC was 112,000. It's now 108. Look, let's not get too carried away. It is 108,000, which is incredible. We're seeing a bit of a pullback across the board. But the question is, we've been in an uptrend for so long. Are we about to see a major pullback to some of these lower levels? So very, very interesting. So the users dropped off, prices going up. Okay, something's weird. We're clearly seeing some divergence here. Now, I keep seeing people talk about, the top's not in. Do you know how I know? Because retail are not frothing at the mouth here, right? We don't have loads of interest on Google searches, right? So this is Google searches for Bitcoin. Now, if we look at 2021, we can see like loads of searches, and it kind of signaled the top of the market and the price was going high too, right? If we go and look at 2021, retail was frothing at the mouth. Retail accounts coming in, well, accounts in general. This is obviously everybody, not just retail. Accounts coming in, price going up, marked the top of the market. Okay. If we have a look at that Twitter chart again, pretty much no real rallies until December the 1st, 2024. Okay, so what happened December the 1st, 2024? 2024. Look at this. This is where retail started to dump, and we know, even though this is just Bitcoin active users, we know this was institutional because the price kept going up, right? The average users were selling, but the price kept going up, and we could see that BlackRock were accumulating, Fidelity were accumulating on chain, which we're going to talk about. We're going to go into. There's something shady there as well, which I'm going to talk about. So people keep looking at this going, the top's not in until this skyrockets. Well, guys, it did actually skyrocket, right? It did actually skyrocket. Look at this for searches over time. It really skyrocketed. Previous higher than this, pretty similar to the 2020 range. Not quite up here, but it did skyrocket. And it's quite possible that we had a retail bull run and then institutions just kept buying, right? Because we can see here they started to dump. They called it a day, right? This is the first time in history that this has happened. And it's the first time in history that we have an ETF. So the institutions are accumulating. Retail said, fuck this, I've had enough, right? I'm gonna wait for a pullback. I've made my 3x, 4x, 5x, whatever. Don't forget, altcoins. We were selling altcoins back in March 24. We were selling our altcoins around, where is this? This is 23. March 24. How fun is that? Just as we started to sell our altcoins, the active addresses really dropped off and died. It's almost like we went into a bear market, guys, in March 24. So we done well to take some profits off the table because most of those altcoins, I mean, Render was like 12.30 when we started to sell, and I think it's $5 today, and Bitcoin has doubled in price, right? And altcoins have not rallied like they were supposed to, like they did last cycle. Everyone kept saying last cycle, alt season's coming. Yeah, we can clearly see it's different, guys. It's different. Something's changed. People started to dump around March 24, and it's quite possible that we had our bull run. And we also had our engagement over time. Now, if Bitcoin is at all-time highs, pushing 112K, everyone's talking about it. President Trump's talking about it. President Trump launched a meme coin. El Salvador buying. Michael Saylor's buying billions and billions. Everyone's talking it. It's on all the news channels. But retail have already sold March 24. Why are they going to buy at 112K when they started to sell at 70K, right? They might buy the dip at 70K if we get a correction. But in my opinion, they're not going to suddenly, do you know what? I'm going to buy back in at historically the worst time to buy. It doesn't make any sense. Now, I think we don't give them enough benefit because they are getting smarter. They are getting better. They're looking at data. There's a lot of KOLs who are also looking at data, and they're not just trading on emotions or I feel like it's the right time to buy. A lot of people say to me, like, I think we're going up, and I'm like, what makes you think that? Or M2 money supply, or anything else. And there's so much confluence that there's something wrong right now in this system. Also, look how strange this is. This is the balances of the ETF inflows. So let's have a look at Wisdom Tree. Now, Wisdom Tree were buying. And what happened? They actually started to, their volume started to drop here, right? The balance that they held suddenly dropped. As soon as we started to see some down pressure in price, there was no hesitation, right? The volumes really dropped. There was literally no hesitation. And they didn't buy back into that pullback either, okay? If we have a look at Franklin Templeton, again, we're buying. As soon as we got up to like 100K, again, aggressive move to the downside. So what we want to fear right now is price moving to the downside, okay? Because we know that when the price starts to move down to the downside, we see aggressive selling from some of these ETFs. Again, who's this? I think this is Invesco / Galaxy. Push to the upside. Price starts to come down. Look how aggressively they start to sell. The ETF holders start to sell. And this is a strategy sometimes with smart money. If the price is going up, sometimes they'll just keep buying. And if the price is coming down, they'll just keep selling, right? They kind of trade with the price, and they're very on top of trades and swing trades and support levels. And there's a lot of trading going on. So, are we going to have an aggressive bear market? It's possible. Invesco, Galaxy, Valkyrie, same picture again, right? Accumulating. As soon as we got close to 100K, this was just over 100K, very aggressive selling as soon as the price come down. But we don't see accumulation from Valkyrie. VanEck, different story. Now, we know VanEck have been super bullish on BTC. We know VanEck don't want to be holding a small bag. We know that their client base is also quite interested in crypto because they've been preaching about it for so long. And congratulations to VanEck, because even though BlackRock have come in and taken the spotlight, let's not forget that Larry Fink was saying no one is interested in Bitcoin, and none of our clients are interested in Bitcoin. And a lot of people missed early prices because of that. A lot of people didn't buy 16K, 20K because, they had all of these bankers and institutions who were giving out this information. So shout outs to VanEck, because they were so early and they were preaching this all along, right? Grayscale Mini, this is Grayscale Mini, so it's pretty irrelevant. Bitwise, buy, started to drop off in volume. Doesn't seem like this push to the upside has interested them. They aren't selling too aggressively, but they're also not buying much at all. ARK 21 shares trending sideways, so it looks like they have some sort of DCA strategy. Weren't going too heavy on the down, weren't going too heavy on the up, weren't going too heavy on the down, right? So solid sideways accumulation. Again, very small numbers. Fidelity, obviously massive. Fidelity are huge and probably quite close in competition to BlackRock. Buy, sideways in this downtrend and uptrend, right? So sideways accumulation. I think we're going to see this from a lot of the institutions. I think we're going to see this from a lot of the funds, pension funds. When we go into a bear market, I think we're going to see just a lot of sideways accumulation, nibbles. I don't think we're going to see too aggressive selling from the top entities, maybe the smaller ones like we've seen just here. Grayscale just like dump everything, just continuous de-risking. How much do they have now? They have like 20 billion. How much? 203,000 Bitcoin at $112,000, so around 20 billion. And just dumping. Very interesting. It's curving round though, guys. Look, it's curving round. Don't forget, these guys got it so early, so they were like, as soon as that ETF was approved, they were in so many profits that it was inevitable they were going to sell. It's crazy that even though BlackRock held all of those people in the Grayscale ETF, they didn't even care that BlackRock were buying so much. They just kept selling, which is crazy. Because they could have just held, right? They could have looked at the on-chain data and just been like, actually, we should probably hold this. And look, it kind of whittled down like this. It gave BlackRock and Fidelity actually a great accumulation phase, so they could just accumulate, and they kind of knew that this was going to happen, as most of us did expect, right? BlackRock beast mode, right? So they just continue to buy. BlackRock, basically, you can tell, want to own a lot of Bitcoin. They want a lot of control in Bitcoin. They know that they're late to the game. They know they need to buy fast. They know that there might be a race to accumulate. I think they have some really nice bags right now, but I think they want way more. And also, it's a good marketing campaign for them as well, right? If clients, they've advised most of their clients to buy Bitcoin. It doesn't look good if it has a 70-80% correction. A lot of their clients will be like, hey, BlackRock, you said to sell gold and buy BTC, and gold has actually, doubled in price, and BTC has crashed by 70-80%. What a terrible decision. Why did you tell me to do this? I'm actually going to move my funds over to so-and-so. And BlackRock manage, 12 trillion plus in assets under management. So the last thing they want is a crash. The last thing they also want is Michael Saylor to get liquidated. So that's another thing we need to take into account. They're not going to want Saylor to hit any kind of forced selling, because that would send a shock across the market, and there would be a domino effect of selling. So BlackRock have kind of been pushing this price up, right? They really started to buy heavy here, started to buy heavy again here. But we don't see the confluence across the rest of the ETF. So this is an organic, all the ETFs are accumulating. This is actually BlackRock and Fidelity, not as aggressive as this, but Fidelity have been accumulating. So it's kind of BlackRock that have just been buying up all this bag, and retail have actually been calling it a day and saying, hey, I'm up 4, 5, 6x on my Bitcoin. It's more than I needed to make right now. I'm going to wait for a bear market, right? That's my speculation. That's what I would speculate is going on. Now, this is another indicator. This is the days destroyed. And each time this kind of peaks has kind of got close to marking the top of the market. So it's peaked here. Obviously, this was the early stages of Bitcoin 2014. So it was very aggressive. As soon as it peaked, it crashed. It peaked, it crashed. If we look here in 2018, the peak was up here and it actually crashed. So the peak was in August, and then the market crashed and we entered a bear market in December, right? So 4 months, 5 months later. The next time it peaked in January, and we started the bear market in November. So 10, 11 months later, after this peak, we actually went into a crash into the bear market. And we peaked here around March 24. How crazy is that? We actually peaked when we started to sell our first batch of altcoins. I sold a lot of high risk altcoins. I sold OLAS here, I think at like $7 or $8. I think it's under $1 now. It's so sad. Many altcoins never came back to those highs where we sold. So very, very fortunate to take some profits here. This wasn't expected to mark the top because we know that the top actually came 10, 11 months later, 4 months later. Now, do you notice what I done there? This is a huge gap, right? So we have here 0 months. We have here 4 months later the market crashed. We have here 11 months later the market crashed. Where are we from this spike? So this spike was March 2024, and we are currently in May 2025, so just over a year. Now, you can clearly see that there's a pattern here, right? 4 months, 11 months. And if we actually calculate the average of those months and we can work out where the next crash should be, exactly where the next crash should be. And I worked it out already, and it's between, now it's a very average range, but it's between June and October. And we are so close to June that personally, I wouldn't like to be taking too many risks here, right? We have our top of the market indicator that says this is historically the way you go into a market crash: green, 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 crash, green, 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 crash, green, 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 crash. We have our indicators that tell us where is the best time to buy: red, orange, exactly where I'll be DCAing. And, this kind of suggests that maybe we're getting close to where the crash is supposed to be. This is cool because if this crash actually does happen between June and October, this is going to be fantastic data because we can actually calculate when we get one of these spikes roughly where the crash is going to be. Because if it was 4 months, 11 months, 15 months, then after we get one of these spikes, the next crash should technically be 17, 18, 19 months, whatever it works out to be, right? So I love this kind of data. I love this kind of confluence, and that's kind of how I'm looking at it right now. Drop in the comments what you think, why retail was selling at all-time highs. It's interesting to see they haven't even been sucked back into the market yet either. It's quite possible that this doesn't ever continue to the upside because we'd need retail to come back into the market. I mean, I don't know who hasn't heard of crypto by now. The president of the United States is on TV, right, talking about we're going to be the Bitcoin global hub. If you haven't heard about Bitcoin now and America are planning to buy it, where are you? Where are you on Earth? Like, where are you on planet Earth? The hype is here. The hype is actually before everything happens, right? It's before the ETF. It's before Trump wins the election. It's before he speaks at the BTC conference. The hype for altcoins, anyway. The hype for Bitcoin has been BlackRock. And I know a lot of people actually started to sell way before 100K. And the hype has been BlackRock just keep accumulating. They just keep buying, and they want a large percentage in that, and it's in their favor for Bitcoin to do very well. And when in that pullback, they kept buying, and everyone said how well it's doing, but they just kept buying. Michael Saylor just kept buying, right? The market cap is still relatively small compared to gold. Gold market cap is 23 trillion, 22 trillion. BTC is 2 trillion, right? It's a 10x under gold at the moment. So it does take a lot of capital to move up, but it doesn't take that much. BlackRock managed 12 trillion in assets. BTC market cap is 2 trillion. Right? It's a huge divergence. So I'm not going to go on too far, guys. We've gone back into greed. So I posted on my X, trade carefully. We had a sell signal, and we've just been swinging these greed and fear alerts pretty much. I mean, obviously I'm not just trading off this, I'm looking at all the other data, the on-chain data, but just a month ago we're in extreme fear, everyone was bearish. Now we're back in greed, everyone is bullish, right? So we bought back in at extreme fear when the market came, I think it came down to 16 or something. It might have been 19, or I thought it was 16. We bought the dip. I took profits. I bought Sui, I bought Solana. I'd done some longs on BTC. Everything went crazy. I was shorting and longing all the way up. But overall, we ended up hitting the target of around 105k BTC. I did take a short on BTC at 105k because we're at the top of the wedge, and that short is still active. It's not crazy big. It's not a crazy big short. I didn't go and buy as much as I did when we came down to extreme fear. When we came down to these levels down here, this is where I bought in roughly around here, some stocks and crypto. And I put around 10% in, which is a lot for me. And I think the short I took on BTC was like, it was at 105k, and I think it was around 1%. That I'm also short Ethereum with a small amount. I think 0.5%. So I'm just trading, guys. I've already sold 75% of my portfolio, right? I've already taken profits. Many things were up 25x, 30x. I've done 50x. I made 100x on something. I've already taken 75% profits, and I'm just trying to make extra money right now. I'm trying to make extra money before the bear market. People keep saying I'm flip-flopping. Well, I'm not flip-flopping at all because I bought in the bear market and I took profits in the bull run. Simple as that. If I'm holding 75% in stables ready to buy the market crash, that says one thing, that should say one thing to you. It says one thing to me. I'm not bullish, right? I'm not bullish right now. I've made a lot of money, and I'm prepared. I'm waiting for the bear market, because historically the data says that this is not the time to buy. Right, I'm glad that I traded BTC. I said TP on BTC 100k. I'm glad that I didn't sell with the retail at 70k. And I'm glad that I did long Bitcoin, because I made like a few $100,000 off that. I'm happy with the gains I've made. I'm not trying to get an extra 10%, an extra 20%. Like, if the market crashes down here and we come back into extreme fear, I'm great, right? This was so oversold. It was incredibly oversold. All of the indicators were saying that this is a buy. They were saying everything's going to rally. Everyone was scared. Everyone was bearish on socials. This was a no-brainer, right? This is why I longed Solana. I longed Sui. I took profits too early, but I think I made around $100,000 again. It's a lot of money to me. I'm not going to sit here and try and nail every top or nail every bottom, right? I'm going to take profits on the way up. I'm going to DCA out and take profits and see how the market plays out and just sit back and wait. If you look up here, we're back in greed. We actually went into extreme greed. Everyone's bullish again. Everyone's like, selling May, go away. Well, guys, we're still in May, first of all. So, don't get too carried away. We are still in May. It's the 23rd of May. And we're starting to get sell signals. And everyone's getting bullish at extreme greed in May. It's a very dangerous time. And we could go straight into this before we even get into June, right? So yeah, I wouldn't be too bullish. I did actually long here in the start of April, which I don't normally do because May is so close. I think last cycle we actually sold in April, March, April, and tried to front run May, and May was a horrible sell off. But yeah, we did actually long into April, and I guess that sort of was part of the reason I maybe took some profits early. We also had negative GDP. We had a war kickoff with India. Like the macro is swaying left and right, and people will say, "Oh, you said this, you said that." Guys, it's one of the hardest times to trade right now. It's one of the hardest markets. One day, Trump can crash or pump the market with a tweet. So how can you tell? How can you say, "Oh, you should have known," or "You said this," or "You said that"? Who knows? Who knows? I do know extreme fear, I need to get bullish, and I know extreme greed, I need to get bearish, right? Those are the two things I'm kind of looking at. Because more often than not, the market pumps here, high chance, we're playing the probabilities, right? I've got an 80% chance that the market's about to rally here. And, that's why I was talking about buying and longing stocks and crypto down here, and why I'm looking for short positions up here. I'm looking to take shorts. I was going to take a big BTC short, and I didn't take that. I am still in my 105k short, or it might have been 106k, I can't remember, but I am also still in my ETH short. I don't have that many shorts on. I mean, I could go and short Sui, I could short Solana. We don't know what's gonna be around the corner in this market right now. If we're not pushing up to solid resistances, I don't really want to be trying too much. I've already got a couple of percent on BTC and ETH. I'm going to ride those out and see how it plays out. I think we've pretty much covered everything right now. Even though I'm swing trading, even though I'm trading, my main goal is to wait for the bear market, right? Most of my money, guys, is in cash, waiting to buy the crash. And we have more data than ever now that's going to help us calculate that. The SMC bot's been upgraded. Nansen is phenomenal now. I've got the Pro Nansen. I know a lot of you can't afford it. It's expensive. It's like $1,000 a month. Some of the data they are pulling now is phenomenal. Their new upgrades are insane, and it's going to be so valuable going into the bear market to see when all the institutions start buying, when all the smart money. I don't really care about people on socials. I want to see the insiders buying, right? I want to see the people in Trump's camp buying. I want to see those who have nailed this bear market and bull market. The people who bought the exact bottom of the bear market, and the people who bought who started to sell around the tops of altcoins. I'm talking about, right? Those are the traders that I want to be tracking on chain. But of course, I'm going to be looking at indicators like this, trying to figure out when we go into orange and red, trying to figure out where the new bottom is. I actually just done an hour-long live stream with my VIP community, and we spent a bit of time actually trying to work out where the bottom is going to be. And I think we nailed it. I think we really have nailed it. There's a lot of confluence that says it's around a specific level. I don't want to talk about it too much because then these things don't become a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? If everyone's trying to buy the same level, you actually don't, you end up not coming down to that level. So if I see certain indicators popping off and we come down to that level, I'm starting to buy, guys. And that's what I've been waiting for. I'm patiently waiting. I'm just being very patient. I know this isn't the best time to buy. I know that most of this buys are Michael Saylor and BlackRock. I know that retail are selling. Patience is key. If you want to get involved with us, guys, if you want to see all my buy and sell alerts, if you want to see all of the trades, head over to my X. You can see all of the trades I take. I post them. I take trades on Bing X, on Copy Trade as well. So you can see here my BTC long, $90,000 from 69k to 90k. I trade on MEXC as well. You can see this. I took the same trade on MEXC, just more leverage. This is my DGen account, so I trade with more leverage there. You can see my post here. Very simple. Trump wins. Market's going to pump. Alts and BTC, very easy longs. And those are the longs that I ended up taking. Full instructions on what to do. Loads of altcoins. I trade altcoins. I've just been trading really, like since the market crash. Look at this, man. I mean, look, we started to sell at $12.30, and I'm trading it at $4 up to $10. Since the market crash, I'm mostly in cash, so I'm just trading. Of course, I'm trading. I'm not like this is that spot buy I done on Solana at 102 when everyone was panicking, everyone was scared down here. Solana was like 100. I think it bottomed at 98 or something. And, we really nailed that snipe. I wish I had held that longer because it would have been multiple hundreds of thousands. But this is the thing with trading is you can get sucked into greed very easily. And I was around $100,000, I think, in profits. And I could have lost most of that just holding for longer. So it's very difficult to take profits at the exact top. And it's about what's right for you, right? A lot of people will say, "Oh, you took profits on Sol too early." Well, I was happy with 100 grand, and if you knew what I started trading with 5 years ago, I was doing $10, $20 trades, right? And to make 100 grand in a couple of weeks is phenomenal to me. It's chump changed. A lot of these KOLs, some of them are on 50 mil, 100 mil. Right? I'm nowhere near their level. In terms of gains, and I haven't been in this cycle as long as a lot of them have, right? A lot of them have been in 3 cycles. This is just my 2nd cycle, but I've just learned fast. I've learned very fast, and I became addicted, and I just kept learning and studying. I lost a lot of trades, and I just kept learning, And I found a strategy that works for me, and it's about what strategy works for you guys. Just because I take profits at XYZ, just because I sold 30% in March, a lot of people didn't. And, back in March, when altcoins kind of started to dive, it didn't feel like the right time, right? We all knew that the bull run was probably going to go into 2025. So why sell in 2024 if you think the bull run's going to end in 2025? Well, for the exact reason for what happened. We don't know what's going to happen, right? And as soon as you get too confident and you start thinking you know exactly what's going to happen in this market, it will humble you. It will really humble you. And I feel sorry for the guys that held down. I know you might be down 60, 70% on your altcoin portfolio because you just kept holding, and everyone was saying altcoin season's coming and we're all going to be rich, we're all going to rally to the moon. Well, in reality, it doesn't work like that, guys. When I sold in March 24 and January, I took some more profits in January 25. I entered the 10% of people that win. And that's something that I said to myself in my head. By selling now, when we're 25x, Casper's 25x up, Render's 25x up, Solana, we were 10x up on Solana, but some other people were 25x up, 30x up because they nailed the exact bottom. Most things were up and rallying like crazy. By selling now, I enter the 10% and I'm not going to be in the 90% that lose. That was the main thing to me. And, I don't have to worry about being in the 90% that lose. And that actually makes me a better trader because then I held the rest of my bag till January. And then what happened in January? We got a nice relief rally and everything started pumping again and I took some profits. I sold Pepe. Pepe was up 10x. We'd been holding that for a very long time. And, it's up 10x, 1,000%. Happy days, I'll take it. 10K to 100K. Easy money, right? Buy in bear, 10K. Sell in bull, 100K. I plan to do the exact same thing next cycle, guys. I don't care if I buy something and it goes up 500x, right? If I put 10K into something and it's 250K a year later, I'm going to count my blessings, right? That's insane to make $240,000 by pressing buy and then 2 years later pressing sell. It's a no-brainer for me. I'm going to take profits. I'm not going to sit here and go, maybe it's going to go higher. We've still got 12 months left of this bull run. Because again, what happened this cycle? What if I'm wrong, right? I don't want to be in that 90% that lose. So that's just my strategy. I'm not a financial advisor. Do your own research. Investing in crypto is highly risky. You can lose all your money investing in crypto. You can lose all your money investing in anything. So always do your own research. But this is just my strategy. This is just what works for me personally. And, I'm sure there's people who are probably long on Bitcoin from 20K and still holding and plan to hold up to 150K. That's fine if they want to take that risk. As long as they're aware of the risks and what they're doing, who are we to tell them what to do? What I like to do is actually, what I have done over the last 5 years, is I've learned from who I felt was the best of the best, right? I've read books. I've studied thousands of hours of tutorials and videos. I've been in groups. I've been in paid Patreon groups, many, many groups. And I have taken all of that knowledge and put it into one that works for me, right? And luckily, a lot of people seem to understand my logic and seem to think, I actually prefer to trade this way too. I want to do this slow and steady. I don't want to try and make 1,000x on a meme coin every day. I'd actually rather just try and do a 10x each cycle and, turn my 10K into 100K in my first cycle, turn my 100K into $1 million in my second cycle, and then turn the million into 10 million in the third cycle. So, 12 years is at 10K to a 10 million over 12 years, right? That's kind of the strategy that I've set out. And by next cycle, I hope to hit it. I hope to hit my 10 million target by next cycle. And if I do, then it gets serious, right? Because then it gets to 10 million to 100 million in the other cycle. If I'm still here, I'm getting old. Also, I'm trading stocks this cycle, guys. So this is going to be a very interesting cycle because for the first time, I am going to be trading stocks. When I made the SMC bot, I ran it on stocks and I was blown away by how accurate it was on stocks, right? Look at this sell signal in the last bear market. It wasn't at the top, but It called at 23, price came down over 50%. So, if you took that sell on your portfolio, you managed to pretty much double your holdings. Or if you shorted, absolutely printed. I'm not going to do too much shorting and longing stocks. I'm mainly looking to buy crashes because they really crash a lot now. And if you look at BTC might not have the same kind of crash because of BlackRock, but stocks should. There's nothing to stop stocks crashing as much as they did before, and history should repeat. Now, last cycle they had some of them 60, 70, 80% corrections. So we can actually use a lot of this data to help us find the bottoms, and I am trading stocks. The most recent stock I bought was D-Wave. So I bought D-Wave down at $6. So I think down here, see where it had this correction back to the SMC. In stocks, it's actually the SMC bot's actually better than crypto for stocks on the weekly time frame. See how it come back to the SMC. This is where I accumulate. This is accumulation range. Whenever you get close to this, it's accumulation range, and it's already up like 200% or something, or maybe more. Might be 300% up. Yeah, it's 300% up. So I'm interested in AI. I'm interested in quantum. I've got a few other quantum plays. I am looking to build a stocks portfolio, and hopefully with free money, right? I think we already flipped D-Wave. I think we took some profits and bought back into it with the extra free money. So, I'm looking to trade stocks and crypto this cycle. So it's going to be very interesting. And I'm probably, the more I make, right, if I do hit my 10x target over the next 4 years, so 1M to 10M, the more I make, the less risk I'll take. Okay, so the more money I make, the more I go into low risk stocks, and the more I go into real estate, and the more I go into Bitcoin. I'm not going to go and put 5 million into altcoins. Okay, I did have to buy altcoins in my first cycle because otherwise I would have not made any money. So I took some high risk bets on Solana, Casper, Render, Tau, Sui, most of the decent projects, and it paid off, right? It paid off big. I had to take some, obviously I wasn't just spinning a wheel and guessing. I was doing the research. I was looking on chain. I was looking at the smart money. I was looking at the narratives, the meta, all of the things we look at. And actually, it turned out well. And even in my first cycle, I got into all the right projects miraculously because I was nowhere near as skilled as I am now. But I got into BNB early, so early. Got into Matic early. I got into Ethereum at like $200. It went to 4,000. That was back when Ethereum was good. Got into Cardano at like 10 cents. So, I realized pretty fast that I'm good at doing fundamental analysis. Technical was probably my weakness, and also being too bullish when everyone was bullish, and not bearish when everyone was bullish, and not bullish when everyone was bearish, which I've definitely mastered this cycle. So yeah, really, really excited for next cycle. I'm 75% cash, so please don't say to me, 1 minute you're bullish, 1 minute you're bearish. Well, actually, no, I've been taking profits since March 24. So for over a year, I've been taking profits. So, you can't say that I'm flipping from bullish to bearish. I am trading, yes. When we go into extreme fear and it looks like we might see a bounce, I'm going to try and make some gains here and there. Likewise, when everything's pumping and rallying, everyone's frothing at the mouth, I'm going to take some profits off the table and look for shorts. 100% I'm going to trade. But most of my money's in cash. Anyway, I'm waffling. Don't forget, like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of these videos, because I think we're going to have some real good content coming in the bear market when it's time to start building portfolios again. And if you want to get involved with us, head over to my X. You can see the link here to join. And you also get the SMC bot as well. So the bot I was talking about with the buy and sell signals, it works on stocks and crypto. You also get the SMC bot. It snaps to grid. So you just literally go to the token you want to look at, and then it snaps to grid, and it gives buy and sell signals on assets currencies and cryptos, currencies, and stocks as well. So yeah, really cool signals. We actually traded this buy. We took this buy down here. We got in around 0.85, and we actually took this sell, and then we took this buy. It's not always as easy as this, but yeah, the bot has been phenomenal on Sui. It's going to be interesting when we get the sell again on Sui, right? Because it's been so accurate. It's been phenomenal. So we technically usually should bounce off the SMC moving average. The question is, are we going to break or are we going to bounce to the upside here? Sui got hacked as well, so it might have a hard time trying to move up. But it did partner with Microsoft, so good and bad news for Sui. Makes it even harder to trade. If we get a bounce here, we're going to need the macro to bounce too, right? We're not going to bounce here if the S&P is crashing, so it's always important to look at the S&P as well. I'm waffling again. That's it for now, guys. Don't forget, like and subscribe. I'll catch you in the next one.